Have you ever been around someone who's just impossibly calm and instead of feeling relaxed, you actually felt more on edge? Maybe your heart started racing. Maybe you felt the sudden urge to pick a fight or to say something just to get a reaction out of them. And you walked away thinking, what is wrong with me? Why does their peace make me feel like I am falling apart? You are not broken. And you are not crazy. What is happening in that moment is one of the most fascinating and least talked about dynamics in human psychology. It is the collision between calmness and anxious attachment. And once you understand why it happens, you will never look at your relationships the same way again. So let me walk you through this step by step because this goes deep, way deeper than most people realize. We are going to talk about attachment theory, the neuroscience behind emotional regulation, and why the very thing you say you want, a calm and stable partner, might be the exact thing that sends your nervous system into overdrive. Stay with me because the payoff here is going to change how you understand yourself. Let us start at the beginning. When you were a baby, before you had words for anything, your brain was already learning a language. It was the language of connection. How your caregivers responded to you in those earliest months and years literally shaped the wiring of your nervous system. If your parent or caregiver was consistent, warm, and attentive, your brain learned a simple equation. I have needs, I express them, and someone shows up. That is secure attachment. Your nervous system learned that the world is generally safe and that you are worthy of love without having to earn it. But here is where things get complicated. Not everyone had that experience. Some of us had caregivers who were inconsistent. Sometimes they were loving and present. Other times they were distracted, overwhelmed, emotionally unavailable, or even absent. And when that happens, your infant brain learns a very different equation. Sometimes my needs get met, sometimes they do not, and I cannot figure out the pattern. That unpredictability creates something psychologists call an anxious attachment style, and it fundamentally rewires how you experience closeness with other people for the rest of your life unless you do the work to change it. Now, here is the key thing about anxious attachment that most people miss. It is not just about being clingy or needing reassurance, though those can be part of it. At its core, anxious attachment is a hypervigilance toward emotional signals. Your brain became an expert at scanning for danger in relationships. Are they pulling away? Do they still love me? What did that pause in the conversation mean? Why did they not text back? Your amygdala, that ancient alarm center deep in the brain, is essentially stuck on high alert. It is always looking for the threat, always anticipating abandonment, always bracing for the other shoe to drop. And this is where calm people enter the picture and everything gets interesting. See, when you encounter someone who is genuinely calm, someone who does not react strongly, who does not match your emotional energy, who seems completely at peace, even when you are spiraling, your conscious mind might think, oh, this is great. This is exactly the stability I need. But your nervous system, that old wiring from childhood, it reads a completely different story. Your nervous system interprets their calm as ambiguity. It cannot read them. It cannot predict what they are feeling. And for someone with anxious attachment, unpredictability is the original wound. It is the thing that hurt you first. So their calm does not soothe you. It activates you. Their emotional stillness triggers your deepest fear, which is that someone important is emotionally unavailable and you are about to be abandoned. Let me put it another way. Imagine you are having an argument with someone and you are getting heated, your voice is rising, your emotions are spilling out, and the other person just sits there, measured, composed. Maybe they even take a slow breath before responding. To them, they might be practicing emotional regulation. They might be doing exactly what every therapist would recommend, but to your anxious attachment system, their composure looks like indifference. Their patience looks like withdrawal. Their calm looks like they do not care enough to fight for you. And that is the cruel irony of this whole dynamic. The anxious person is often desperate for connection, and the calm person might be offering the most grounded version of connection available, but the two nervous systems are speaking completely different languages. Now let us talk about what is happening in the brain during these moments, because the neuroscience makes this even more fascinating. When someone with anxious attachment encounters a calm person who is difficult to read emotionally, the amygdala fires up. It detects something it classifies as a potential threat, not a physical one, but a relational one. The brain is essentially asking, is this person still with me? Are they present? Do they care? And when it does not get the kind of high energy emotional feedback it was trained to recognize as proof of love, it escalates. This is why anxiously attached people sometimes unconsciously provoke conflict. They are not trying to be difficult. They are trying to generate an emotional response from the other person because in their internal world, a big reaction equals evidence of caring. If you scream at me, at least I know you are still invested. If you cry with me, at least I know this matters to you. But if you just sit there breathing calmly, my nervous system goes into panic mode because I cannot confirm that you are still emotionally connected to me. Meanwhile, the calm person often has no idea what they are triggering. They might have earned their calmness through years of inner work, through heartbreak, through mindfulness practice, through simply getting tired of their own reactivity. Many genuinely calm people were not born that way. They built that stability through painful experience. They learned that reacting impulsively usually made things worse, so they developed the ability to pause between feeling and responding. Their prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making center of the brain, learned to intervene before the emotional brain could hijack the situation. But here's the thing that makes this dynamic so painful. The calm person's greatest strength, their ability to remain centered under pressure, becomes the exact thing that destabilizes the anxious person. It is like two puzzle pieces that look like they should fit perfectly, but actually grind against each other. And this does not just happen in romantic relationships. Think about friendships where one person is always the steady one and the other always feels like they are too much. Think about workplaces where a composed manager makes an anxious employee feel unseen. Think about family dynamics where one sibling learned to go quiet during conflict and the other learned to get loud. These attachment patterns show up everywhere because they were wired in before we even had language to describe them. So what do we do about this? Because understanding the problem is only half the picture. The real value is in knowing how to navigate it. The first thing is awareness. And honestly, if you have made it this far in this video, you already have a huge head start. Most people go through their entire lives reacting to calm people without ever understanding why. They just label themselves as too sensitive or too needy or too dramatic. But now you know there is a neurological and developmental reason for what you experience. That alone takes away some of its power. The second step is learning to distinguish between past danger and present safety. This is the real work of healing anxious attachment. When a calm person sits across from you and does not match your emotional intensity, your nervous system screams danger. But the question you need to learn to ask yourself is, am I actually in danger right now? Or does this just feel like something from my past? Because the truth is, a person who can remain composed during conflict is often offering you something incredibly valuable. They are showing you that the relationship can hold tension without breaking. They are proving that disagreement does not have to mean disconnection. But your old wiring has to catch up to that truth. The third step is communication, and this one goes both ways. If you are the anxiously attached person, learning to say something like, I know you're being calm right now and I appreciate that, but my nervous system is reading your calm as distance, and I just need a small sign that you are still with me. That kind of vulnerability is transformational. It takes the unconscious dynamic and makes it conscious. It gives the calm person something they can actually work with. And if you are the calm person in this equation, understanding that your composure might be landing differently than you intend is equally important. You do not have to abandon your calm. That emotional steadiness is a genuine gift, but pairing it with small signals of warmth and engagement, a hand on someone's shoulder, a simple I am right here, even just leaning in slightly during a tense moment, those tiny gestures can bridge the gap between your nervous system and theirs. There is a concept in psychology called co-regulation. It is the idea that our nervous systems are not isolated. They are constantly communicating with and influencing the people around us. When two securely attached people are together, their nervous systems tend to sync up naturally. They calm each other. They regulate each other. But when an anxiously attached person meets a calm person, co-regulation breaks down because the anxious system needs more active signaling to feel safe, and the calm person is offering passive signaling that says everything is fine without explicitly demonstrating it. This is also connected to something researchers call emotional contagion, the phenomenon where emotions spread between people almost like a virus. Normally, the strongest emotion in a room tends to dominate, but genuine calmness operates differently. It does not overpower other emotions so much as it creates a vacuum, a space where the anxious person's feelings echo back at them louder because there is no matching energy to absorb them. And that echo chamber effect can feel terrifying if you do not understand what is happening. Now, I want to address something that might be uncomfortable but is really important. Sometimes anxiously attached people unconsciously choose calm partners specifically because they recreate the original wound. This is not masochism. It is your psyche trying to heal by replaying the old story with a new ending. You are drawn to the person who is emotionally steady in the same way your caregiver was sometimes emotionally distant, because part of you believes that if you can just get this person to show you big emotions, to prove their love in the dramatic way your nervous system recognizes, then you will finally heal the original hurt. But that strategy almost never works, because you are asking another person to abandon their authentic way of being in order to soothe a wound they did not create. And that is not fair to them, and honestly, it would not fix you even if they did it. The healing has to come from inside. It has to come from building what psychologists call earned secure attachment, which is the process of rewiring your nervous system through consistent, safe experiences over time. This is where therapy can be incredibly helpful, particularly modalities like EMDR or somatic experiencing that work directly with the nervous system rather than just the thinking mind. Because anxious attachment is not a belief problem, it is a body problem. Your muscles, your breath patterns, your heart rate variability, these are all carrying the imprint of those early experiences. And talking about it, while valuable, is often not enough to change the deep wiring. You need experiences that teach your body a new definition of safety. Let me give you one practical thing you can start doing today. The next time you are around a calm person and you feel that familiar spike of anxiety or irritation, instead of reacting outward, turn your attention inward. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Take a slow breath and say to yourself, silently, I am safe right now. This person's calm is not rejection. This moment is not my childhood. It sounds simple. It is simple. But done consistently, this kind of self-soothing practice starts to build new neural pathways. You are essentially becoming your own secure base, which is the thing your caregivers were supposed to provide but could not. And here is the beautiful thing about all of this. When you start to heal your anxious attachment, calm people stop being threatening and start being nourishing. Their steadiness becomes the foundation you can rest on instead of the wall you keep crashing into. Their peace becomes contagious instead of confusing. And you finally get to experience what secure connection actually feels like. Not the desperate clinging kind, but the kind where two people can sit in silence together and both feel completely held. That is the real promise hidden inside this painful dynamic. The calm person is not your enemy. They might actually be your greatest teacher, showing you exactly where your healing still needs to happen. Not by doing anything wrong, but simply by being themselves. So the next time someone's peace makes you uneasy, do not run from that feeling. Get curious about it. Ask yourself what old story is being told right now. Because that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong with the relationship. It is a sign that something inside you is ready to be understood. If this helped you see yourself or your relationships more clearly, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Drop a comment telling me which part resonated with you most. And if you want to go deeper into attachment science and emotional intelligence, make sure you subscribe because we are just getting started. I will see you in the next one.